Hello, fellow followers. Welcome back to FanZcene. Greg here, and today I have for you. We have to stop censoring and looking at classic films through the modern lens. This is something that's been on my mind lately, and I think we can all agree that censorship of any form typically is it's always bad. It's always bad, right? And I'm not a big fan of looking at classic films through the modern lens. That's looking at older films with today's sensibilities and modern times and everything. But what I'm going to do, I'm going to bring up this article because I was alerted to this story by a friend of the channel here and a subscriber, Style Section. Shout out to him, who's from Australia. So it looks like there's some cancel culture or whatever you want to call it down in Australia that's going towards some of the classic films and TV series, and it's crazy, it's nonsense. But I bring up the article here. I'm not going to read the whole article here, but I'm going to read a section of the article. This is actually a very long article. I will put a link in the description down below if you guys want to go read the whole article because it goes over a lot. But I'm going to read just a section of it, and then I'm going to give you guys my thoughts and stuff on censorship and the modern lens of classic films. But this says, straight out of Orwell, Australian Classification Board accused of requesting powers to censor historical films and literature. That is scary. What is going on in Australia? Just that is absolutely scary. But I'm going to scroll down here to see, as you see there, Mary Poppins. From what I understand, they actually want to, like edit and change and censor Mary Poppins, Gone with the Wind, which I think we've done that. They wanted to do that here in America too, and Crocodile Dundee, which was their biggest movie to come out of Australia. Crocodile Dundee, seriously? But it says here because this group, this power wants to make this a law to where they can censor and change community standards of what's right and what's moral and what's morally acceptable and everything. And this is a little bit of a rebuttal and stuff. I'm going to give you my thoughts on this. It says, noting the adage that those who fail to learn from history are doomed to repeat it, the IPA research director said that canceling the past would not make today's society any safer or more united. I cannot agree with that. I cannot agree with that more. Never, never. You must learn from the past. Period. The past may be uncomfortable, maybe something you don't want to hear, but you have to. It has to be there. You have to learn from it and understand it. It's insane. It says what the classification board is seeking has nothing to do with protecting children, but sanitizing historical works and chiding Australians for appreciating works that fall short of the censor's current ideal of community standards, he said. And as we know, within government, the current ideal of standards in most governments are not what the current ideal standards are for most people around their country, from Australia to America to other countries. Their governments are never in touch with their people, ever. I don't care what side of the aisle you're on. It says the classification board justified its request by pointing to requirements in the classification acts that require to take account of community standards. If classification is to be undertaken to give effect to community standards of morality, decency, and propriety, as is required under the Act and Code, there needs to be a legislative acknowledgement that those standards will inevitably change over time, and therefore provision must be made for a simple mechanism to allow for the reclassification of content, the submission states. In other words, I'm going to take that off there. In other words, they're basically saying that if we grant you these powers, there's got to be a way to revert them back to the way they were when things go back to normal. Because assuming things go back to normal, right? And this is what I'm talking about. And I worry for Australia because they've already lost some physical media down there, and that's sad. But I worry that because we talk about there's changing in times now. Times do feel different. Things are changing. It does seem like people are starting to get fed up with censorship and stuff like that. But it's still there. It's still there, and censorship is wrong. And this is what I can't stand. I don't mean to sound mean or disrespectful to anybody, but if you're living in modern times now and you're renting a movie from, like, say, the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, the 80s, and expecting that movie to fit your modern sensibilities, then you've already lost the plot. All right. Movies and entertainment and history itself should not ever be censored. And we need to stop looking back at these classic films through the modern lens. They're a different time. They're a different era. They are sort of a snapshot of history themselves, of what was going on at that time and era. And it needs to be seen. It needs to be learned. It needs to be watched. Some people you can watch those movies and you can say, oh, maybe that didn't age so well. Oh, I can't believe that was done. That you couldn't get away with that today. but it doesn't mean it has to be edited. It doesn't mean it has to be changed. I'm not a fan of saying if you don't like it, don't watch it. I'm not a fan of that. But seriously, in some cases, for some of these people that want to edit and change, if you don't like it, don't watch it. In that case. But something that's really like aggravating me as well too, like looking through these classic films through the modern lenses. I've noticed here on some of the boutique label physical media releases, we're starting to get interviews and stuff with like college professors or journalists from like the Washington Post or the New York Times discussing this classic film and what it meant to them, and how it's in some cases supposedly if they love these movies so much, they're like knocking the movie for the way it's presented, what happens in the movie. In some cases they're changing the message of the movie themselves, not that the movie necessarily has a message, but something like they're warping the entertainment message of the movie to fit their narrative of their things. And I don't like that. That's looking at a movie through a modern lens, and I don't like that. And if I'm going to watch a special feature on a boutique Blu-ray or 4K or just from the studios themselves, I don't want to hear from those people. I want to hear from like maybe a film historian or somebody who worked on film, the director if they're still alive, the actors and actresses if they're still alive, or some archival footage and what they thought of the film and everything like that. I want to hear from that. I want to hear about the making of the movie and what the vision of the director was and the creatives and writers. I don't want to hear some artsy fartsy journalist from New York or Harvard or some bum screw place newspaper talking about what this movie meant to them, and how they're changing the way most people see the movie. Because you can't look through a movie through the modern lens, and censorship never works. And this is what worries me about the future of certain physical media companies, specifically like from like Disney, because they've already done with Toy Story 2 and some other movies where some of their new Blu-rays and 4Ks that they've released have been edited. It is now the edited, censored version of the film. So when I say, because I'm a huge supporter of physical media and I love physical media, so when I say buy physical media, I mean buy physical media, because it is the purest form and probably the best form of the movie and entertainment, as TVs and books and comics. Buy all that, because it's, that's the way it was meant to be seen and everything. And specifically, especially if it's older. Now, not every studio will do that. A lot of the boutiques are good at giving you boutique labels that release like Vinegar Syndrome and stuff like that, shout like that, are typically good at giving you the movie as it's meant to be. But in some cases, speaking of shout, which I don't know if anybody's heard about this, they were putting out Riddick on 4K, and they cut out the scene in the according to them, it's their director who took the scene out, which is once again censoring the movie, which is dumb. So I would recommend buying the Blu-ray of Riddick if you can find that, not the Shout Factory. But they took out the scene where Riddick grabs what's her name's butt at the end of the movie. Right now, yes, that may offend some people. Some people may not like that. I get it. But that should not be censored. That should be taken out. You can't make a movie like 20 years ago and then all of a sudden, it's modern lens, right? You're looking at it through the modern lens. I need to take that out, and then now you release it. So this is what worries me about the future of physical media. In some cases, like they will edit that, put the edited version on a disc. So sometimes it's better to actually buy, the older Blu-ray or DVD. In some cases, not all cases. But I do highly recommend like Vinegar Syndrome, Arrow, and stuff like that. Just I wish they would and like with Arrow and like Kino and Criterion, I wish they wouldn't always get those journalists or professors from on some of their special features talking about the movie and what it meant to them and looking at it through the modern lens and how this is wrong and that is wrong and stuff. I don't need that, but I worry about Australia, because also I did hear that they've already edited Crocodile Dundee. So if anybody's watching this from Australia, because I know I have a lot of Australian viewers, check that Crocodile Dundee, because I've actually heard they've already edited Crocodile Dundee down there, and I would like to know what they've edited, and I would recommend those in Australia if you can. You get a region free player or whatever, and maybe import a Crocodile Dundee in some of those movies if you have the money from America or other countries where it's not censored. But this is a worrisome trend down in Australia, and this is something that's been on my mind. Is just like looking at movies through the modern lens can be very dangerous, and censoring can be very dangerous because it leads to manipulating and changing history and art and entertainment and whatnot like that. And I can't. like I was talking about the Riddick and director, like that's the director's vision. It's his right to do that, but it's also once that's made out there and put out there for so many years, doesn't the audience themselves has a right to see that scene the way they want to see it? Don't they have the right to choose if they want to? I mean, I understand maybe you want to take that scene out. That's fine, but you should also give the audience the other version, the chance to see the other version with that instead of just automatically changing it and saying no, because we have to stop telling people what they can and cannot see. People have to start learning for themselves again, because I have a feeling in the future we're going to look back at this moment in time with all the censorship and the 1984 Orwellian stuff and the modern lens, and cancel culture and all that. I think we're going to look back and we're going to just like say, what the heck was people doing back then? But let me know what you guys think about all this in the comment section down below. Are you for the censorship down in Australia? Are you fine with looking through movies through the modern lens? And if you are, no judgment from me here. These are my thoughts and my feelings, but I think we should stop censoring. I think we should not look at classic movies from with the modern lens, because I think that's wrong and inappropriate, and you're misinterpreting the movies to begin with, and entertainment and books and novels and art, all that to begin with. But let me know your guys' thoughts and comments down below. What are some maybe censorships and stuff that you've noticed, or what's some of your favorite classic films that you have that you absolutely love that you would hate to see censored or looked at through the modern lens? Leave all that in the comment section down below. And if you like what you saw here, maybe consider hitting that like button or subscribing and hitting that bell for notification. That would be awesome if you guys hit subscription, or possibly share the video out for everyone to see, or join and become a channel member, because that would help out my channel immensely. Thank you, and shout out to all my channel members. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys for being channel members here and for all of your support. And to everybody watching, whether you liked me, hated me, or liked this video, or hated this video, I thank you for sticking this long. Wherever you all are, please have a great, safe, happy, healthy day, morning, afternoon, evening, and night. Seriously, always support physical media, because it truly is the uncensored and superior format. Godspeed.